need you to join in with us because it stops today. Big Tech, your gig is over.
Yep.
Heartbreaking reactions from parents as tech giant Meta faces a legal battle that could cost it more than $1 trillion and change the face of the platform forever. The company is accused of deliberately making Facebook and Instagram addictive to children, while parents are saying their children are the ones who paid the price. The biggest test yet of big tech's responsibility over children's social media use begins tomorrow.
So social media on trial once again, and we want to get next straight up to our guest who is an expert on what is going on there, Mann, business trial lawyer at Armstrong Tisdale. Monty, thank you for being with us today. I'm a mom. I've got 4 kids. 2 of them have a little bit of social media. This is a hard quotient for parents to reconcile, and we're watching to see what Meta and what this trial bears out.
Yes, glad to be here. This is a battle royale for sure.
So talk to me about what is actually the accusation here. Is Meta has created platforms that are addicting to children. Is that my understanding?
Yeah, the basic story in the plaintiff's case, the 4 states who are bringing the action, is that Meta knew that features of Instagram and Facebook could keep children and teenagers compulsively engaged, i.e. addicted. That these companies, Meta and Instagram, knew that there were risks associated with these things, health risks, mental health risks, and they continued to intentionally design the products to maximize engagement, and then misrepresented what the side effects and the implications would be to the public. So that is the plaintiff's case.
That and you've got attorneys general from multiple states coming together to levy these accusations to try to prove their case. How does one go about proving the intentionality and the long-term understanding of the consequences of what Meta has amassed with Facebook, with Instagram, those types of platforms?
Well, this case, like other business cases, I would say the most dangerous witness against the company is often the company's own documents. And I think we're going to see that here. And I think we're hearing from Wall Street Journal and Reuters that in opening statements today, the plaintiffs, the states, have referred to internal documents that were internal to Instagram and Facebook that indicate that they knew that the scrolling features were addictive, that they intentionally designed their product to enhance those features and then misrepresented those things to the public. So I think what we're going to be looking at are a lot of internal documents that the states are going to use to try to show that Meta, Facebook, and Instagram all had internal evidence of the addictive nature of their products.
That'll be I would think that would be pretty devastating in court, yes, but also in the court of public opinion for people who, I mean, like I said, as a mom, my kids have Facebook mostly because it's not like the place for kids to be, and all my family was there, and I made their profiles, and I made sure that they were friends with every single family member or supervisor, basically, that I could think of that would be there on Facebook to help monitor the situation. We limit the time, all of the things. Not every parent is doing that. But I would think that if parents are coming of age where their kids are asking for these platforms, that even in the court of public opinion, regardless of how this trial comes out, that parents might be looking at the information that comes out in discussion in those documents that they're talking about right now and feel a little more empowered to tell their kids, no, we're not going to do that.
I totally agree with you.
We're speaking with Monty Mann, a business trial lawyer at Armstrong Tisdale. Do you feel as though this $1.4 trillion number that is attached to this story, arguing damages sought by the state attorneys general, could reach as high as $1.4 trillion, according to a Fox Business report by Eric Revel? Is that a realistic number?
That is a potential number. I mean, one of the things that always happens in a lawsuit is that the plaintiffs put out a big number at the beginning of a case. I think the more interesting story, though, is the injunctive relief that the states are going to be seeking. The states are going to ask the court to get involved in the way these companies do business and take away or limit the features that they contend make these products addictive to teenagers or young kids. So money's a big story. It's a big headline. But I think the more interesting aspect is, do the courts now get involved in how these companies do business and restrict the way they do business so they do not take advantage of these enhancements that they allegedly believe or understand are addictive.
Monty, this is...
So to me, that's the bigger story.
This is Annie's co-host, Ryan. You actually were right on the track of what I was going to ask you about, so let me just keep kind of digging into that topic. Are states who are part of this lawsuit, are they relying on this case to basically write the law for them? You know, instead of each state having to come up with its own rules about social media and kids, are they all collectively saying, oh, this will be the case that determines it for us?
Yes. We call this a bellwether case. This is a test case that will set precedent for the parties in the future to decide how these businesses are run. There are 29 states involved in this lawsuit, but everyone is looking to see what this court, what this judge does, because that's indicative of how these stories sell in the courtroom and how the laws can be changed, if at all, to accomplish the goals the courts want to achieve.
We're speaking with Monty L. Mann, business trial lawyer at Armstrong Tisdale. Excuse me. Do you, it seems as though the focus is about the way there is an addicting nature to these platforms and its connection to kids. Is there any problem with it being addicting for adults too? Because I know a lot of adults, and myself I'd probably throw in there included, you find these things to be pretty addicting. I don't know that it's necessarily helpful to society. I could argue that it has definitely been harmful to society, but is it okay to create a platform that is addicting for adults without any warning and just not children?
Well, I'm not really here to talk about public policy. I'm here to talk about the law, but I'll tell you that I do think that there are large studies that show that this is not just a adolescent mental health problem; it's a mental health problem.
Yeah.
And you see other cases across the country where the subject matter is not just adolescence, but it's mental health generally.
Yeah. Well, this will be a very interesting case to watch. It's something that does touch pretty much everyone. Everyone is on social media to some capacity. And we thank you, Monty, for your time today. We appreciate being able to get to the bottom of this trial and get some more facts. Yeah,
I'm happy to do it. Can I add one more comment
Absolutely.
about what I think your listeners really want to hear about?
Yeah, please.
This is a fascinating case in that the Judge Gonzalez Rogers, who's a Democrat appointed by Barack Obama, she has set an advisory jury. She wants to hear from 8 jurors who will tell her, who will stand and sit as the voice of the community as to what the community standards for adolescents should be. I think this is a brilliant move. She was appointed by Schwarzenegger, a Republican, and then Obama, a Democrat. And she understands that she's just one person and wants to get input from the community as to what standards should apply to our adolescents. And I give her credit for that. And I think it's an excellent move and a smart play.
Awesome. Well, that's an important detail to this, that whatever culminates from here, that's a more broad ruling, and interesting to hear that take. Thank you for being with us today. We'll have you back as this case continues on.
Excellent. Thank you.